Piok. Black Screen with WITXT. Blaui funda 1948 Indian SEC F for $800. Henny Kui Kakapil Tesof Rusty Parts. Dirty Engine. Faded Paint. What if I told you that buried under decades of neglect, under layers of rust and grime, there was a legend waiting to be reborn? This is what $800 bought us. A 1948 Indian Chief. Not just a motorcycle. A piece of American history. Abandoned. Forgotten. Left for dead. And we're going to bring it back to life. Every scrape, every turn of a wrench, every moment of transformation. You'll hear it. You'll feel it. This is not just a restoration. This is a resurrection. A presentation. Upslopans over Tete complete. Darty bike in a dusty barn. Hands in gloves touch Tete tank. Uphacy Tete. Handlebars. Let me introduce you to our patient, the 1948 Indian Chief. When Indian Motorcycle Company built this machine, it was the king of the American road. A 74 cubic inch V-twin. All that torque, that iconic skirted fender, the deep, throaty exhaust note that defined an era. This particular bike, well, it's seen better days. We found it in a barn in upstate New York. The owner said it had been sitting since the 1970s. 40 plus years of dust, moisture, and decay. The odometer shows just over 28 miles. But today, that number doesn't matter. What matters is what happens next. Over the next weeks, we're going to strip this bike down to its bare bones, clean every component, repair what's broken, and rebuild it into something glorious. And you're coming along for every single step. Disassembly. CLOSEAUPS Engloved Hans using wrenches, sockets, methodical removal of bolts, nuts, parts. ASMR sons of metal on metal, reist cracking. Phase 1. Total disassembly. This is where we learn the true story. Every bolt tells a tale. Every corroded connection reveals the bike's history. We start with the easy stuff. Seat, fenders, tank. But the real work begins with the engine. The cylinder head bolts are frozen solid. Decades of thermal cycling and moisture have welded them in place. We need penetrating oil, heat, and patience. Sound of spray can, then torch hissing. This is a two-person job. One applying steady pressure with a breaker bar, the other heating the aluminum around the steel bolt. Creaking, then a loud pop as the first bolt breaks free. That sound. That's the sound of progress. Over the next 6 hours, we carefully remove every component, labeling each with masking tape and a marker. The carburetor is completely gummed up with varnish from old fuel. The wiring loom is brittle, insulation cracking at the slightest touch. The drive chain is a solid mass of rust. No amount of lubrication will save it. But that's okay. We expected this. The goal isn't to salvage everything. It's to assess the damage and plan the rebirth. Assessment planning. All parts laid OUTON a large canvas tarp. CLOSEUPS critical components. Engine chassis, F-frame, forks. With the bike completely disassembled, we can see the full scope of the project. The frame has surface rust but is structurally sound. No cracks or bends. The crankshaft turns freely, which is a miracle considering the condition. The transmission shifts through all 3 gears, though the action is stiff. The real problems are in the details. The chrome plating on the fenders is pitted beyond repair. The rubber parts, tires, grips, foot peg pads, are petrified, crumbling to the touch. The electrical system is a complete loss. And the paint. What's left of it is faded to a dull maroon, with large patches of primer showing through. We create a master list. What can be cleaned and reused, what needs professional refurbishing, and what must be replaced entirely. This list will guide our budget and timeline. We estimate 0 hours of labor just for the mechanical restoration, plus another 40 hours for cosmetics. Clarity AGREASENG. Parts being scrubbed in solvent bathes, media blasted, well trithenically cleaned. Satisfying ASMR OF grit blasting, brush scrapping. Now comes the cathartic part, the deep clean. We start with the engine cases. They're caked in 70 years of road grime, oil leaks, and who knows what else. Into the ultrasonic cleaner they go, filled with a biodegradable solvent. Of the machine, bubbles rising. 30 minutes later, they emerge looking like new castings, these smaller parts. Bolts, brackets, spacers. Go into the bead blaster. hiss of compressed air, sound of tiny glass beads impacting metal. This removes every speck of rust and corrosion without damaging the underlying metal. For the frame and fenders, we use a less aggressive media, walnut shells, to preserve the original contours. The transformation is instant and dramatic. Metal that was dark brown becomes bright, clean steel. We can now see manufacturing marks, casting numbers, and even the original Indian logo on the engine cases. This step is crucial because it reveals hidden defects. And sure enough, we find one, a hairline crack in the left engine mounting ear. Not catastrophic, but it needs repair before we go any further. Repair e fabricação. TIG Worlder, reparatie, lack a horn, a worn shaft. HANDFILNG, a bracket. Sparks, metal shavings. Phase 3 is where skill meets salvage. The cracked engine mount requires TIG welding. We clean the area meticulously, preheat the aluminum to prevent stress, and lay down a precise bead. Crackle of the arc, bright blue light. After welding, we grind the repair smooth and check for alignment. Perfect. Next, the transmission output shaft shows significant wear where the sprocket sits. Instead of hunting for a rare, expensive replacement, we take it to a machinist. On a lathe, they carefully turn down the worn section and create a sleeve that's press fit and pinned in place. Whirring of the lathe, metallic scraping. Good as new, and stronger than original. Some parts simply don't exist anymore. The rubber battery tray is disintegrated. So, we make one. Using sheet aluminum, a brake press, and a rivet gun, we fabricate a new tray that fits perfectly. Punching of holes, clank of the press, ratcheting of the rivet gun. This is the problem-solving heart of restoration. Adapting, improvising, and overcoming. Paint e finishing. From And/There's jetting primer. Color, And Clar Cotien a spray booth. A KIR cots being polished. The visual rebirth begins. After masking and sanding, the frame, fenders, and tank are ready for paint. We've chosen a classic color, Indian red, a deep, rich crimson that glows in the sunlight. First, a coat of epoxy primer for adhesion and corrosion resistance. Soft hiss of the spray gun. Then, the color. Multiple thin coats, building up depth and richness. Finally, a high-gloss clear coat that will look wet forever. Sound of the gun moving in smooth, even passes. While the paint cures, we send out the chrome pieces, handlebars, headlight bucket, exhaust tips, to a professional plating shop. They'll be stripped, copper-plated, nickel-plated, and finally chromed in a process that takes a week. Meanwhile, we refurbish the mechanical components. New bearings throughout, wheel, steering head, engine, all new seals and gaskets. The cylinder heads get a valve job, seats recut, new valves, springs, and guides installed. The carburetor is completely rebuilt with a new kit, every jet cleaned with compressed air and solvent. Case 5, reassembly. Engine being lowered into TFF frame, wheel is installed, whirring loom rotate. Satisfying C-Clax-OF part snapping into place. This is the moment it all comes together. The freshly painted frame is on the lift. We start with the engine. Cleaned, repaired, and reassembled. Using an engine hoist, we carefully lower the 300-pound V-twin into its cradle. Gentle clunk as it settles. Bolted in with new, grade 8 hardware, torqued to spec with a torque wrench. Click of the wrench. The transmission follows, then the primary driving clutch. The new drive chain is installed, adjusted for proper tension. The refurbished wheels go on, with new tires mounted and balanced. Sound of the tire machine, buzz of the balancer. We route the new, custom-made wiring loom, connecting each circuit methodically. The handlebars, controls, and refurbished gauges are installed. Every connection gets the electric grease. Every bolt gets thread locker where needed. This is a slow, deliberate dance. There's no rushing perfection. Split say screen. Rest disassembled engine on left. Clean, rebuilt engine on right. Look at this transformation. On the left, what we started with, a dark, greasy, unknown quantity. On the right, the result of countless hours of cleaning, machining, and assembly. Every surface machined or polished. Every passage cleaned. This engine isn't just clean, it's better than new. We've replaced wear items with modern, superior materials. The oil pump has been upgraded. The ignition is now electronic for reliability. It's a 74-year-old design with 20th century internals. Sleeve hanger. Closely on tiatea ignition switcha. Hand reaches for IT. The moment of truth. After weeks of work, hundreds of parts, thousands of decisions. It all comes down to this. Will it start? Will it run? There's only one way to find out. Reveal. Bike is now fully assembled, standing on ITS kickstand in der Brichtlichias. Slow trace, cease, 0. D-E-G-R-E-E pan. Behold, the 1948 Indian Chief, herborn. The paint is deep, mirror-like. The chrome sparkles. The leather seat is fresh and supple. All the details are there. The correct badges, the proper fasteners, the period-correct style. But it's not a museum piece. It's meant to be ridden. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Test ride. First S, T, A, R, T, U, P. Ingains cranks, catches, roars, T, O, lifey. Exhaust not easd ponets clan. Bike being ridden on a country road. Sound of the starter motor cranking. Engine sputters, then catches with a loud V-twin bark. It's alive. The exhaust note is perfect. That iconic Indian lop, we let it warm up, checking for leaks or strange noises. Nothing. Just smooth, mechanical harmony. Then we take it on the road. The torque is immense, pulling from idle with authority. The suspension, with new springs and dampers, soaks up bumps. The brakes, now with modern linings, actually stop the bike. It's not just a restoration, it's a reanimation. This machine hasn't felt pavement in over 40 years, and now it's doing what it was born to do. Montage, barn find shots I-N-T-E-R-C-U-T with final ride shots. Remember where this started. A $800 barn find, a pile of rusty potential. Look at it now. This is why we do this. Not for the money. We'll never recoup the thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours invested. We do it for the story, for the challenge, for the sheer joy of taking something broken and making it whole again. For giving a legend a second chance to roar. Sklosoente head face, a woman in her artrinta sin te head barn, thenoente head road. Ismirko F satisfaction. And this is my story too. I'm not a lifelong mechanic. I learned this through passion, through mistakes, through stubborn determination. This Indian chief taught me more about patience, precision, and history than any book ever could. It's proof that with the right tools, the right knowledge, and the right mindset, anything is possible. Even resurrecting a 74-year-old motorcycle. Bike parked, engine ticking ASIT calls. Sunset eni tiatea backage rund. So what's next? Another project, of course. Another forgotten machine waiting for its second chance. Because this isn't just about motorcycles, it's about preservation. It's about skill. It's about the satisfying click of a bolt threading home, the smell of fresh paint, the sound of an engine firing for the first time in decades. It's about the journey from what is to what could be. And if you've made it this far, you understand that too. Thanks for joining the restoration. Until next time, keep wrenching.